They say Jesus can heal, but feed all these people? With what? That's what the little shepherd Eli wondered, hiding behind a rock, clutching his cracked lamp. He saw thousands gathered on the hillside, and the disciples were panicking. Philip said they'd need a fortune to buy enough food. But then, a small boy offered up his lunch. Just 5 loaves and 2 small fish. Jesus took that tiny offering, looked to heaven, and gave thanks. And then, the miracle began. The bread and fish multiplied, flowing through the crowd like a river of light. Everyone ate until they were full. There were even 12 baskets of leftovers. It wasn't just about feeding the hungry, it was about showing that what you offer, no matter how small, becomes more than enough in God's hands. Just like the little boy, He sees you and He sees what you have to give. The golden wheat ripples under the sun, dancing in a gentle breeze. They say Jesus can heal, but feed all these people? With what? The hillside is teeming with them, a sea of faces full of hope, laughter, and life. I'm just here, tucked behind this rock, clutching my old, cracked lamp. It feels as small and broken as my faith right now. Watch, little shepherd. God's math is different. I jumped, startled by the voice. Beside me stood a lamb, its wool glowing like starlight, its eyes so gentle and knowing. Before I could ask what it meant, I heard a commotion over by the disciples. Philip was pacing back and forth, wringing his hands. We'd need 200 denarii. It's impossible. Andrew just sighed and pushed a small boy forward. I have 5 loaves and 2 fish, the boy announced, his voice small but clear. A few people in the crowd chuckled, and I could hear the disciples groan. But Jesus didn't laugh. He knelt, his eyes locking with the boys. Bring them to me, he said, his voice calm and full of warmth. As the boy's small calloused hands offered up the simple basket, the bread inside began to glow with a faint warm light. Jesus took the basket, and a hush fell over the entire crowd. He lifted his eyes and the basket towards the heavens. The wind picked up, rustling the nearby wheat, and the sunlight seemed to fracture into a million golden particles, dancing in the air. Time itself seemed to slow down. Father, thank you, Jesus whispered. A deep, resonant hum, like a choir of angels, filled the air. It was a sound that vibrated right through your soul. Then, the miracle began. Jesus broke the bread, and as he did, the loaves started to multiply right before our eyes, like glowing cells dividing and growing. Fish leapt from the basket, their scales flashing like silver in the sunlight. The disciples grabbed more baskets, and as soon as they were filled, they overflowed again. A beautiful, upbeat choir began to sing, a song of pure joy. 5 loaves, 2 fish, watch him multiply. The disciples rushed into the crowd, their arms laden with food, light trailing behind them like comets across a night sky. It was a sight I'll never forget. A montage of pure joy unfolded all around me. A little girl leaped and caught a warm loaf mid-air, her face alight with wonder. An old man broke a piece of bread, and the steam that rose from it briefly formed the shape of a dove. Children giggled as fish seemed to wiggle right into their laps. There was no pushing, no panic, just a sea of smiling faces and grateful hearts, all bathed in the warm golden light of the setting sun. As the day drew to a close, a warm feast was shared by everyone. Families sat together, breaking bread, their faces painted in the pink and orange hues of the sunset. I took a bite of the bread I was given. As the warmth spread through me, the old lamp in my hands flickered, its light suddenly growing brighter. The lamb's voice whispered in my ear again. He didn't just feed them, he included them. He used what that little boy offered. When everyone had eaten their fill, Jesus asked the disciples to gather the leftovers. They came back with 12 baskets, each one overflowing with bread. And the strangest thing, the loaves were shaped like little lambs, glowing with that same soft, divine light. Philip stared, his mouth open. 12 baskets left? He exclaimed in disbelief. Jesus turned to the small boy, who had been watching with wide, adoring eyes. You gave what you had, Jesus told him gently, and God made it more than enough. Night began to fall, and the crowd slowly dispersed, their hearts and stomachs full. I stood alone on the quiet hillside, the stars beginning to appear. I looked down at my lamp. The crack, which had been a mark of its brokenness, was now glowing with a soft golden light, and it was shaped like a fish. Tears filled my eyes and streamed down my cheeks. He saw the boy. He'll see me too. my small broken offering. Maybe it was also enough for him. Thank you so much for joining me for this story. If it touched your heart, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more content that inspires hope and faith. We're grateful to have you as part of our community. Until next time, take care.